Welcome to the Heart of Racing, mate, alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. Neil Breen here with you and Will Friedman as usual. And it's a show with a difference today. It's an end-of-season special. Will, we're going to have a break for a few weeks.
Well, they're hardly racing most of the place with this weather, isn't it? It's just putridly wet.
The weather's been
I don't think we're going to miss much, is what I'm saying.
There's still some good racing on. Look, we'll get to it a little bit later in the show. Are you having a break at all, or you just got to plough through?
I'm plowing through it. I'm going away to LA for my partner Rachel's brother's wedding.
Oh, really?
So my brother-in-law-ish, because we're not
Are
married.
you going to come back engaged or anything? Or
No.
Okay, sore point.
That's
right
guaranteed.
I hope she doesn't listen.
She doesn't.
Well, my wife and I, we're actually going to Europe for a couple of weeks. My daughter's going to study in Oslo. She's nearly 20. She's going to study in Oslo for 12 months, so we're taking her over there. And I've worn my Bruce Springsteen T-shirt today because I'm going to see the boss in Stockholm 2 weeks today.
I can just imagine you going off, like singing, carrying on.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get into it when you go to these
yeah.
concerts? Like,
Yeah,
lose
right
all
into it.
inhibitions? Like,
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm having a good
I've
time.
bought 2 seats in the grandstand at the Friends Arena in Stockholm. I'm taking my 10-year-old boy, Harry, because I want him to see the boss before the boss carks it. Anyway.
He might have a different opinion of you after
before the show. All the Swedish people will be going, "Oh, how cool is it? We've got this Aussie dad and son here." By the end of the show, they'll be going, "Why do they have to choose Oslo? Stockholm? This bloke, he's a pest."
They'll be saying to your son, they'll be like, "Come with us, son. Leave him."
Your dad's a lunatic. We're going to dismiss most of the things we normally do at the start of the show, like Sayonara and the So Simple, because we are doing an end-of-season special.
But I'm going to have a pineapple.
But you want to have a pineapple.
One last crack.
One last pineapple. Give it.
So Fleetwood gets the pineapple, right?
The horse.
The horse, which is the whole problem here.
Because the horse was playing up in the barrier.
I don't like to call people nuffies that often, but the people that are arguing that they should have got their money back when Fleetwood missed the kick, firstly, I've watched it 100 times. The horse, the barrier attendant did exactly what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
He had
It wasn't his fault.
But he didn't stop the horse from beginning at all. They're like, "Oh, well, where does Damian Lane go?" But the horse doesn't know that. The horse isn't looking back and going, "Oh, I can't go because that man will get in front of Damian Lane." If it wanted to go, it would have gone. He was trying to get its head up so it could begin. Horses won't begin with their head down, dropped on the ground.
And his head was way down.
And it happened in a split of a second. And everyone's like, "Oh, but the barrier attendants the jockey was calling no." But you know what? If a starter waits for every horse to be standing exactly still facing it.
And if a starter doesn't start because the jockey's going, no. Have you ever listened to the start of a race? Every jockey's going, no, wait, hold.
Yeah. At some point, they just have to go, "We're going." These are professional barrier attendants. In Melbourne, they're the only state, and I applaud them for it, that have full-time barrier attendants. That is their job in the industry.
What do they go from meeting to
Yeah,
meeting?
it's not the same in Sydney. Sydney, they're all track work riders, track staff. They do it as a secondary job. It's a part-time gig. But in Melbourne, they are a full-time set of experts in doing it. So do not get argy-bargy. If you want to back horses that start perfectly every time, there's an electronic simulator down at the
called
pub.
Trackside.
You can go and back on Trackside if that's what you want. The fact that horses are not machines is what makes it so interesting.
Part of the risk.
Don't go crying.
You don't know what you're going to get.
It's how you've done your dough. It's how you've done your dough. I get all that. I do my dough all the time. But we don't then say I wonder if you still cry foul after you've had a massive weekend and you backed the winners and you go, "Oh, I still remember, it's only a small win because I've done my dough." No, you go out and spend it like a proper champion, which you should. But I was not happy with all of that at all.
Okay, so you're against Fleetwood.
Oh, and for the
stewards.
One last thing on that.
Yeah.
The one thing I will agree with is that the rule for the first 4 is not the correct rule. If there's a reason they should be declared a non-starter, they should be a non-starter. But the participants should be able to still try and compete for prize money because they never just pull them up. So if there was a reason for them to be declared a non-starter, like a malfunction with the gates or something like that, they still should be able to compete for prize money because you can't just put it on hold for 2 weeks once they jump out of the barriers. They'll still run their race. So there should be a distinction between the punters and the participants
prize money,
in that sense.
Because the rule in Australia is if you finish in the top 4, Doesn't matter what happened, you're a starter.
Which is not fair for the punting public. Like, in the end, the lesser of two evils is everyone gets their money back if they should have been a non-starter, unless they win, right?
And what you're saying is that Fleetwood was a starter because it was the horse's
It was
fault.
not. It was irrelevant. This whole it has brought to light an issue that is real, but it was irrelevant in this case because the horse was the problem, not the handlers.
Okay, good one. Okay, so what we're going to do for Gates Fly this week is we're going to run through highlights of the racing season. So I'm going to start this with my top 5 horses of the year.
Yep.
So you ready for them?
Yep.
And you can bag them.
Number 1.
Or tick them.
Or are we going to go from 5? Let's go 5 first.
Oh, okay, number 5. Okay, number 5 I'll put down as broadsiding the 2-year-old. Number 5. I think a 2-year-old has to be in the top 5 horses of the year every year because we're.
You think he's the champion 2-year-old?
I think he's the champion 2-year-old. I'll tell you why. Because Lady of Camelot got rolled in the Percy Sykes. I think it dented her that she won the slipper, and then
she ran second in the Blue Diamond as well.
I know. But
if she'd won the Blue Diamond, which she should have, it was just rude tactics.
If whatever, like if Fleetwood jumped, he would have won. Now, she didn't win, so I'm putting in broadsiding on the back of the fact that he won 2 Group 1s over the mile. Are you saying that the mile 2-year-olds are weak compared to the slipper?
Certainly.
So I'm going to say broadsiding, and he also won the Queensland Guineas.
Yeah.
And he also won the Fernhill at Ramley.
You mean he won the JJ Atkins?
No, but he also not the Queensland Guineas. He won the Sires before the JJ Atkins. So he won the Sires and then the Atkins,
which is arguably should be a Group 1. Like it's a good field normally that line up in the Sires.
Yeah. So I'm putting broadsiding in, but you'd put Lady of Camelot in.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Okay, rightio. We'll agree to disagree on that.
One person's right here.
I know, and it's you. Number 4. Okay.
All right.
I had Romantic Warrior in, but I took him out on the basis of the fact he was a Hong Kong-based horse. I loved him.
Yeah.
What he did in Australia, winning the Cox Plate. But instead, I've put in Mr. Brightside.
Yeah.
Now, Mr. Brightside, people go, Mr. Brightside.
I think
he's won a lot of races.
I know, but I think you're
just bored with Mr. Brightside winning those 1,400 and 1,600 metre Group 1s in Melbourne.
Yeah, I think Romantic Warrior is one of ours now.
Oh, he came here for 2 starts.
Yeah, that's one of ours.
Yeah.
Ridden by James McDonald.
James is the horse's man.
Born here was in New Zealand. I think he was New Zealand.
Yeah,
anyway, that's a state of Australia, isn't it?
Okay.
When we want it.
So I'm gonna put it in as number 4. Number 3, I'm putting Imperatriz in.
Yeah, I agree with this. Like, because we're talking about a genuine sprinter, because you need a sprinter in there, right?
Yeah,
like,
a genuine sprinter in there.
I think Bella Nipotina might be stiff, but I agree with you. Like, it's a tight run race, but I think Imperatriz...
But just the string of victories.
Yeah, I agree. And
I know, the good horses are in Sydney, not in... Whatever, but she beat them. But
if you could own Imperatriz or Bella Nipotina if you started the year again, you'd take Imperatriz.
Yeah, so Imperatriz I put as number 3.
So I ask you that question about broadsiding. At the start of the year, if I said you can own broadsiding or you can own Lady of Camelot, who are you choosing?
Broadsiding, because he's got a pair of nuts.
Well, fair enough. No.
He can go to stud for me, and I can retire. I can see as many Bruce Springsteen concerts as I want. Number 2, now, he's not even in the discussion for Horse of the Year. He won the Cups double. People seem to, the Cups now, like the Caulfield Cup, the Melbourne Cup, without a fight's performance to win the Caulfield Cup and the Melbourne Cup was extraordinary.
Yeah, I certainly think he's got a strong hold on Stayer of the Year.
He has to win it. I know he didn't race in the autumn.
Doesn't matter. You've won the two biggest staying events.
He won the 2 big dogs, and he won the Melbourne Cup brilliantly.
Yeah. So that's I'm 100% agreeing on that.
And I don't know whether it was the excitement of the moment. I'm putting her in as number 1. And at the same time, I think there's an argument for other horses to be Horse of the Year, putting her in Pride of Jenny.
Yeah. She's in the top 5 for sure.
She's in the top 5.
And
I know she's probably going to win Horse of the Year. I don't know if she is. I don't know. I just don't know if I'm just being because of the QE2.
Do you think she'll win Horse of the Year?
Oh, the way,
I guess she won 2 Group 1s in a week.
I
Down
know.
at Flemington. That doesn't happen.
I know.
Like-
the 2 races over a mile at Flemington when she beat everyone, then they came back the next week and beat the mare. No, was it the other way around? She beat the mares, then came back next week and beat everyone.
Yeah. Like the way she...
And we love a front runner.
We do. Like she's just a cult figure. And
She is.
the story behind the owner and his daughter, Jenny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good story.
It's a great story.
Great horse. The run of the year and the moment of the year, we were just talking about her. We've never seen anything like it in Australian racing. Not for a long time. Look, we've seen leaders win, and we know the famous stories of the Rogues and the this and that, and we've seen the horses with the withering speeds, like acceleration, like Kingston Town and everything, the sustained excellence of Winks. But we've never seen a horse lead by 30 lengths in a Group 1 and beat them by 6. And you go, oh, gee, they took a bit of ground off her at the end. She won a Group 1, one of the championship Group 1s, the QE2 at Randwick, in the top 5 Group 1s in the country. She beat them by 6 lengths.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
it was one of the best things ever.
In this country, it was a captivating performance when we sort of needed one. We don't really have I don't think we have a bona fide superstar running around at the moment.
No.
Like,
we'll get to that soon.
There's some good horses, but we don't have a Winks.
Total rock star. We don't have a Lonro or, a Winks.
Maccabi Diva.
Black Caviar.
Whatever you want. There's just not one of them at the moment. And racing really needed a story to get behind. And I thought that it filled that really well. I think Romantic Warrior, one of my lads, an Australian, what would I say? We've taken ownership. But I thought going and running in Japan and winning there, that was my moment of the year. Like they are so good, the Japanese.
The Japanese milers are supreme, and he went there and knocked them off over a mile. Not
First
2,000.
At the end of a long season. Like, how Danny Schumer's got that horse to just keep peaking. And remember when we had James on here? I remember James after it said, I said, why are you going to Melbourne to ride that horse work all the time? He said, I just wanted to make sure it had enough work. Like, he was so invested in this horse. Like,
when we had him on the podcast here, we said to him, what's your horse to look out for the spring? And before we even said the word spring, he said, Romantic Warrior.
Yeah.
He loves that horse.
One thing James is very accomplished at is his ability to get on good older horses. He has a great feel for that. I would argue that possibly his 2-year-old resume is not as rich as his older horse resume.
Seasoned horses.
But that's part and parcel of being aligned with Chris Waller, who has been the best trainer we've ever seen in Australia, possibly, and most of his are older horses. So it's not an exact science, but I would say that going over there and beating them and just beating them so convincingly, and him going over there and just getting the ride absolutely perfect, it was really special. And I would give it a late nomination for Asfoora as well. That was fantastic.
No, to go over there and beat him, and also people saying, she's not one of... She went over there and she beat him, and she won going away.
Don't you love when you beat the Poms as well? With something that's like, they come over and say, we win all the cups with our second-rate stayers. You go, well
you don't
bit
actually.
Bit of your own medicine. We sent over a Group 2 level sprinter and just went and pulled your pants down. So well done to Henry Dwyer. Fantastic effort.
That takes me to, talking of the cups, to flop of the year. Undoubtedly, it was Vauban in the Melbourne Cup.
I've never been so confident and been so
I thought he was going to win too. And then, of course, I've been raving about Without a Fight because what he did in the Queensland Carnival, and backed him in the Caulfield Cup. And then
left him.
And we came up with that new verb. I got Vauban.
Vauban. I think that's going to stay. We will repeat this for cups to come. The old Vauban.
I know what's going to happen.
Every year we've got to identify.
Is he coming this year?
Yeah, he's coming again.
Oh, he just ran second at Ascot.
Yeah, but
if he comes, I'm going to be tempted to back him.
I'm not.
Oh,
I will pull on its tail as hard as I can possibly pull it. If he comes back, like, I cannot have it. I tweeted, I did everything.
But you tweeted that Vauban Melbourne Cup # different gravy, and didn't you?
I got given it. Oh, well. Thanks
Do you,
for that.
do you want to go through the horses to watch for the spring?
Yeah.
We put Vauban in? No, we'll leave him out. Okay, I'm going to put Broadsiding in, and I know that you're going to put in Lady of Camelot.
Yeah. Yeah, as a 2-year-old, I still think Lady of Camelot, the way it races, that was a quality 2-year-old field as well. Like, we had some good 2-year-old sprinters.
The Golden Slipper build-up this year with the quality of horse we saw was unbelievable. On the day, I think a few of them were disappointing. It was a funny track, all of those things.
But
I'm fascinated to see how a lot of them come through.
we always give a rap of the Golden Slipper winner. Not many of them come through, but I just like a filly that's that tough.
Okay, so you're watching her. There's another 2-year-old that you and I have put in for horses to watch this spring, and it's Storm Boy.
Yeah, it's a big watch. I'm worried it's cooked.
Now, so Storm Boy bursts onto the scene. He wins the Golden Slipper. He looked like an absolute superstar. Waterhouse and Bott have got to keep him up. Then there's the massive stud deal. The billionaire from the US buys into him. He's worth 40 or 50 million, and he went out the back door. He got beaten before the Slipper, and he ran third in the Slipper.
At the moment, he's a Group 2 winner, or a restricted listed winner. So he's got a big task to get some value back into.
He's got to win a Group 1.
And he might do it. I'm not saying he won't. I worry horses that have that big campaign.
And he's a big, gross horse too.
That might work in his favour. He might have enough it'll be interesting. He's a beautiful animal. Like, he's a beautiful animal. Like, he's big and burly, but he's beautiful. So, and Justifiers are traditionally not 2-year-olds. So Justify was a 3-year-old middle distance
He might
horse.
come out and be an absolute superstar, or he might come out and do nothing.
He might come out and win 2 guineas, and we go, wasn't he good at 2 as well? Like, that's where we're at. So it's a watch. But I treat him like the Golden Slipper winner because he had that sort of campaign to get there. So it'll be interesting.
Okay, I've put in 2 horses here that are going to clash to watch. Via Sistina and Pride of Jenny. I think they're almost locked together. Via Sistina, trained by Waller, came out here from the UK, looked absolutely like, wow, this is the new weight for age star in Australia. And then Pride of Jenny did what it did, and they were all caught napping, including Via Sistina, which ran second in that race. The reason I want to watch these horses is because J-Mac, if he rides Via Sistina again against Pride of Jenny, he can't give the horse 30 lengths.
No, it'll be a collective effort to bring her back in. It's not going to just be Via Sistina. Everyone's going to be on alert. I'm not sure they'll try the same tactics as aggressively again. Like, it was a pull your pants down moment last season.
Okay. So you think maybe half the 30 lengths was the surprise factor?
Yeah, I think if she was 5 or 6 lengths in front, everyone would have been like, oh, that's
Whatever.
how she races.
Yeah.
But the fact that they just let her get further and further ahead, it was neglect a little bit. So
they kind of just went, oh, that's a bit silly.
Well, they thought it was silly and that she'd come back, and then they now know that she won't. Whether they can sustain a sprint trying to catch up, that's the question, isn't it? Or whether they do more work early just to be within touching distance. I don't know. And, maybe there's a new horse on the scene that wants to go forward. Like, this is the great part about racing, is that it's not really the same crop of horses going around every year. There's always new ones.
Always a new one. There was always a new one. Righto, is there anything else you want to cover off from this racing season?
I want to look at the breeding industry a little bit. Not so much the breeders, but the stallion rosters. We are really low on proven stallions in this country. So we've got
I'm Invincible.
Zoostar.
Getting old.
Zoostar's probably had a really good season last year. Is going places. And then outside of those 3, there's a bit of a Pirata's coming through, had a good first season, but there's no proven size. And now we're looking at...
Because there's a whole lot of middle rung size. There's a lot of extreme choices and...
Well, extreme choice...
Flying Artie.
Extreme choice is probably in that elite category. He's got fertility issues, but he would be in that elite category. But it's just the fact that, like, Justify's not coming back, staying in America. Too Darn Hot, I heard the other day, not coming back to Australia after a good first season.
Yeah, right.
It's like... we're talking up all these big deals for stallions to go to stud, and they're just not delivering at stud.
Because we've got this whole group of Farnans, Tagaloa.
So
one knows what.
So, but what's the
is
issue here?
Capitalist really gone? He's there-ish.
But what's the issue here is what I'm asking, and I don't have the answer for it. Why are all these promised horses going to stud not delivering? And these ones from overseas are. Is it that the bloodlines aren't as strong here as they are overseas because it's not as developed or mature as a market here? I don't know. I don't know these answers, but I'm a little worried about the fact we're relying on a few, older seasoned sires propping up this industry without a whole heap coming through. So,
this is what. So if you look at, we'll break it down just to the last 50 or 60 odd years. So Australia got really blessed because Star Kingdom came along and produced that unbelievable Star Kingdom line, right?
Yep.
And then as that line was ending,
Danehill
turned up.
Danehill has been the biggest stallion Australia's seen
ever.
Ever.
Star Kingdom was.
Yeah.
Then Danehill came
because
along.
Just for people that aren't in breeding.
Yeah.
There is a term that they say in breeding which is free of Danehill. That's how significant he was. He was in everything.
Yeah.
So
sometimes you need a mare that's free of Danehill to go to a Danehill line sire. Because sometimes the Danehill cross hasn't worked.
And that's another part of our champion stallions at the moment. There aren't a lot of champion stallions producing a lot of stallion. They're not great stallion-making stallions.
So this is the point I was going to make. So Danehill, it's the son of a gun, that John Massara theory, son of a gun.
Then we had Redouts, would have been after it. I would have thought. After Danehill.
So there was Danehill, Redouts, Snitzel,
Mm.
and none of the Snitzel sons
have
become the gun.
No.
And that's the fact.
And
there's a lot of them go to stud, but he hasn't produced a Snitzel. Danehill produced a Danehill in Redouts. Redouts produced a Redouts in Snitzel. Snitzel's produced not a Snitzel.
Same with I'm Invincible. I'm Invincible, not the greatest sire of sires.
No.
Great race horses.
No.
Fantastic.
He is another one.
So he's got Brazen Bow. I'm probably missing one. I'm not that well at, I'm not a huge student on it.
Brazen Bow's just okay.
But
you wouldn't go to the Magic Millions and pay $400 for a Brazen Bow. Someone will, but I wouldn't.
No, but it's where I would say Not a Single Doubt was probably the closest we've had for a little while, has produced quite a lot of good stallions.
Yeah.
And Costa de Lago was a very good stallion and a very good... But a lot of our champion stallions seem to be becoming very good broodmare sires. Not siring, like you said, the sire of a lot of other sires. So it's a precarious position we're in where we don't have a stallion that's really producing a lot of good boys. So I'm going to watch this spring. There's room for someone to just take off with this market. It's prime for the picking.
Yeah.
It's just going to be interesting to see which one it is.
Rightio. We've got to get to the big-time tips for the week, but we've got to take a little bit of a break. This is the Heart of Racing, mate, alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. First, we're going to get a weekend update from Ladbrokes spokesman Tom Hackett.
Thanks, Brainy. The Queensland Winter Racing Carnival heads to the Sunshine Coast this Saturday for what shapes is a really interesting edition of Caloundra Cup Day. And here at Ladbrokes, with the Ladbrokes Racing Club, we've got a very vested interest. We have the favourite in the Group 3 Winx Guineas. Know Thyself, running in the Ladbrokes Racing Club colours, trained by Paul Mazzara, is currently the $2.20 favourite in the Winx Guineas. He's 3 from 4 during his career to date. He probably should be 4 from 4. He was very unlucky in his only defeat. He's a very progressive horse. No doubt this is the toughest test of his racing career to date, but he's a horse with serious upside that we think can win the Winx Guineas and be a serious player during the Spring Racing Carnival. Zadaki is on the second line of betting in that race at $4. Sofrado drops back in class at $5.50. But at Ladbrokes, we will be certainly cheering for our Ladbrokes Racing Club runner, Know Thyself, in the Winx Guineas. The other feature race on the card is the Caloundra Cup, a really open race this year. Team Friedman have got Post Impressionist going in first up. Was a horse that looked like a potential star in the making when he won the Manion Cup, and then didn't fire in the Tancred Stakes, but definitely a horse with ability. It's the $3.80 favourite. He's a shocker, $4.50, always credible in races like this. Nice choice, $4.80. Allegron, arguably racing in career best form, he's $8.50. But I think if you're looking for a little bit of value, I think Zoom On from barrier 12, James Allman in the saddle will roll forward and turn this into a genuine staying test. He's $11 to win, $3.40 the place, but a lot of winning chances in that Caloundra Cup. Enjoy another big weekend of racing, boys, and it's back to you in the studio.
Take on the fun with Ladbrokes. Download the Ladbrokes app today for all your favourite racing features like Black Book, yard comments, and more. What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Welcome back to the Heart of Racing, mate, alongside our mates at Ladbrokes. Will, we've spent a lot of time talking today, so we're going to punch through this week's tips. Randwick, we're going to look at the Winter Stakes. It's listed over 1,400 metres with I Know a Star at $2.70, the favourite. King of the Castle, $6.50. Tamerlane, $8. Highlights, $8.50. Exelatus, $9.50. Oh, Flying Crazy S on Junipal, all double figures. What do you like here?
I actually like Flying Crazy. I think its last run was very good.
$12.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think its last run was very good. It ran on strongly. It got through the heavy conditions last start, and it's had a little freshen up into the Winter Stakes. I think it's going well.
Okay.
But I mean, I Know a Star will be there a long way.
Yeah, he'll be there a long way, I Know a Star, and I like him at $2.70. Flemington has all those Winter Series finals that happens every mid-July. There's a stack of listed races and other races. Let's look at two of the four listed races anyway. Mm-hmm. The Sprint Series final over 1,200 metres down the straight. Pressed down is $3. Veloca Caro is at $5. It's in from $7.50 after the barrier draw. Why Worry at $8? Who Dares $9? It's Our Time. Likes the straight 13. The Astrologist likes the straight. Not getting any younger. 12. Ranting 12. Anything here?
Every time I see It's Our Time, I see It Sour Time.
It's sour time, I know.
Look, it's probably a little bit of a lottery. I don't think a huge amount of them are in spectacular form. It's sort of that time of year. I sort of have a soft spot for Who Dares.
I got a soft spot for It's Our Time. I've had some joy with it down the straight. The Winter Championship Series final is over a mile. It's listed as well. There he is, Murnamek.
Will you be on
2
this
wins
time?
on the, yeah, I'll have to. $4.50. Duke DeSesses at $5.50. Windstorm $7.50. Pounding 8. Greenfly 11. King Magnus is 12. Le Ferrari, it's been backed into 10. Sabark Phoenicium is 15. Anything here?
I mean, Munamek's the form horse, right? But it's hard to do it 3 times in a row.
Very hard to win 3 in a row.
I sort of like, I just think on a meet like this in the middle of winter, you try and find a little bit of value. So
Yeah.
I don't mind Sabark coming down into
I
Melbourne.
didn't mind it either.
Like, I think just at an each way price, I'd prefer to just take a heap of each way bets and just try and land something big to get myself enough in front.
Okay, Caloundra, or the Sunshine Coast, I should say. And it's the Winter Carnival that never ends up there, but it does end this weekend. The Winx Guineas over 1,600 metres is Group 3. Know Thyself, the Boom Horse, $2.10 favourite. Zadaki's at 4, Safredo $5.50. Miss Aria $7.50. The next in the market is Winsome Star at 17. So there's 4 under double figures. Know Thyself's got to be hard to beat here.
I really hope it wins. I'm good friends with Paul, and I'd just be thrilled for him to do that with a horse that they took a risk on. It's part of the Ladbrokes, club. So I just would love to see Know Thyself win for Paul and for the Autumn Sun to really solidify. It's a good race, the Winx Guineas. It usually churns out a decent horse. So I'm really hopeful. So I don't want to look anywhere else because I want it to win.
Okay, good. The Caloundra Cup's over 2,400 metres. It's a listed race. They've backed Post Impressionist from $5 into $3.80 already, the import. He's a shocker at $4.50. Knight's Choice $4.80. Allegron $8.50. Zoom on 11. Luncey's 17. Oh, they're long odds of the rest. Post Impressionist here. The money for him?
It seems to be it. It's just another one of these 2,400 metre staying races. They're all just going up against the same group of horses.
Let's go round and around and
It's
around.
a bit stale at this point, isn't it? But I mean, I think He's a Shocker is the best horse in the race, and if it puts its best hoof forward, then it probably wins.
Tab Glasshouse over 1,400 metres is a listed race. Wallamby 480 the favourite. The Inevitable's at 550. What he goes is 650. En Francais 950. Willinga Beast 11. At Wits End, it won the eyeliner by a length going away. It's at 12. Midnight in Tokyo's 12. These are sort of the, I don't know, the second stringers that sort of fill out the bottom end of the Stradbroke.
But it's kind of a
good race. Good race.
I like Willinga Beast.
What was wrong with its win?
I know, and it was for new. I think it's for Arrowfield now. They bought it at the sale, but I don't see any reason to back against it. Like at $11, I'll take my chances. It's look. Wallenby is a good, honest mare.
What he goes on his day.
Yeah, they're all thereabouts. Nothing will win by much in this race. It'll be a blanket finish, and that's why I'm happy to take a little bit of value at Willinga Beast.
Okay, stable mail for Ladbrokes communities. Ever wanted to connect, banter, share tips with a group of diehard racing punters? Well, it's time to check our communities. Available in the Ladbrokes app. What's the Freedman stable got for us?
Probably the third race at Randwick. We got Navy Blood. He ran second on the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Had a tough run, but he's bounced back pretty well. I like horses on the backup.
He goes around again on the backup.
Yeah, I like horses on the backup on heavy ground because they get that residual fitness a bit. And
heavy track, one thing I know is you got to back a fit horse.
That's right. And a lot of horses have missed a lot of runs just by the way that the program, losing meets, bad barriers, heavy tracks, because you're inclined to run from a bad barrier if you've got the conditions that suit. When you get a bad barrier and you don't get the conditions to suit, you're inclined to scratch. So a lot of horses I'm noticing when I'm doing the form are 4 or 5 weeks between runs, and you're doing that on a heavy 10, which it will be on Saturday, I would think.
Hard yakka.
It's going to be very hard. So I got a couple backing up from the weekend that's just been. So, but I'd say Navy Blood's our best.
Rightio. You going to unload on something this Saturday?
Yeah, I'm on Know Thyself.
Yeah. Okay.
$2.10. I'll parlay that into old Navy Blood 1-1.
I'm going to follow the money on Post Impressionists.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy that. It'll be a 9-minute race.
I think there's something. 2,400 metres. It's not that. 2 minutes 28. They'll run.
Okay.
We'll see you after the break, Will.
Yeah, enjoy it and let us know how. Take some photos for us of
the boss.
Of you at the Springsteen.
Oh yeah. I'll
Can you get like a
No, I can't get a headband. I'll see you in 4 weeks.